Hello and welcome to another EG Recap. I'm Jack Lindsay and I have heard your demands. Whenever there's a quote, you guys want to see the text I'm reading from scrolling by on screen. I can do that. And some of you find the way the summary text for the articles I'm covering pops up on screen to be a little dinky. I 100% agree with that. It's dinkalicious. So I'm looking for some kind of Premiere plugin or graphics or something that can polish that up for me. Because it's so ghetto the way I make it happen right now. I just go, I'm just going to insert a text layer on top of this here picture, and it'll have the name of the game what for people can read along while I'm saying it. Then I'm going to copy that layer so that first name don't disappear, and then add another one so it'll pop up and people see it, and so on and so forth. And I try to scale them by hand and make them all the same size, but they ain't ever the same size. Sometimes they can't even align perfectly. No. So the next order of business is definitely to fix that part of the recaps. Speaking of which, I've got 4 stories for you today. Up first, Rainbow Six Siege is free to play this week. Then, Fortnite takes a trip to Pandora in the new Borderlands crossover event. Dying Light 2 gets a meaty gameplay demonstration. And the WoW Classic train is fully loaded. Let's get on to the news. Mr. Irwin tells us that Rainbow Six Siege is free to play this week. Since its release in 2015, Rainbow Six Siege has become something of a juggernaut in the competitive gaming scene. Whether it's casual players trying to get better or professionals practicing for their next big tournament, the Ubisoft title is firing on full auto on a daily basis. Following a recent tournament in Raleigh? God, maybe I should just do the whole recap in that hick accent. I don't even know how to say words. We're going with Raleigh, North Carolina. A recent tournament in Raleigh, North Carolina, with a prize pool of over $500,000 and the announcement of the upcoming Operation Ember Rise update, Ubisoft has announced that this week, gamers who haven't jumped in yet can do so for free. In addition to being free to play this week, players can grab different versions of the game in a window of 50% to 60% off. This means you can pick up the standard edition for $8, the deluxe edition for $12, Gold edition for $29.99, and the Ultimate edition for $49.99 for this week only. This special runs from August 28th through September 4th, although you can preload the game today through Ubisoft's Uplay service, and the Uplay Plus subscription service isn't required. With Operation Ember Rise expected to drop sometime in the next month or so, now's a good time for curious players to jump into the action. Recently, Ubisoft detailed what we can expect out of the 2 new operators in Ember Rise in a 6-minute video. They go on to detail the operators' special abilities further on their website. Now, technically this is quoted text, so why don't you all just look along with me here? Operator Amaru has a Gara hook, a truly unique contraption. With it, Amaru can grapple onto ledges and windows and hoist herself up in record times. Why don't they just call it a grappling hook? Her opponents now not only have to worry about attacks from above, but also from below. With the Gara, Amaru is the only operator that can go up an open hatch instead of down. When timed right, hooking the Gara onto a window can result in Amaru's infamous Gara kick, which instantly takes out an opponent standing behind the window. Goyo gives a new dangerous meaning to deception. With him in the field, every deployable shield is a question. Is it a simple obstacle, or could it blow up in your face? Like the ordinary deployable shield, the Vulcan shield provides cover and allows defenders to block pathways, but Goyo turns up the heat with an attached incendiary bomb. From the front, however, there's little indication of which it might be. Until someone shoots the bomb to make it explode, the shield continues to be an obstacle for the attackers. Hopefully Goyo's teammates will remember to save that explosion for when an attacker is standing in front of the shield or climbing over it. Now Jonathan, being the team player that he is, has included links in his article to a story I did earlier this year about a system that Ubisoft has implemented to discourage intentional team killing, and an article that Kyle James wrote about covering the Siege 2019 Invitational, which had an even larger prize pool than the most recent tournament. Mr. Irwin also wrote about a project that preceded Rainbow Six Siege called Rainbow Six Patriots back in January, which suffered through development before being finally scrapped. All these Rainbow Six goodies are yours for the reading in the article linked below. For our next story, Fortnite takes a trip to Pandora in a new Borderlands crossover event. With the release of Borderlands 3 only a few weeks away, advertising efforts have ramped up for the 4th installment to the popular shoot and loot series. It seems like everywhere you look, you either have Claptrap yelling in your face or gameplay footage teasing some ultimate carnage. But just yesterday, things took a turn for the curious for fans of Borderlands and Fortnite alike when the official Fortnite Twitter account released this tease of a tweet. And it says, "When you see it, And let's enlarge it here. There's a lot going on in this image, but something that stands out nearly instantly is the infamous psycho enemy type from the Borderlands series, gazing out from among the rest of the faces in the image with that unwavering, maniacal stare the enemy is known for, usually shortly before trying to murder you while yelling different obscenities. Along with the image was the hashtag Fortnite-Mayhem. Speculation led many to believe this would be an upcoming item pack, and as it turns out, they were half right. Beginning today and running through September 10th, players of Fortnite will find part of their business-as-usual battlefield to be inhabited by a glimpse into the Borderlands planet of Pandora as part of a new patch. While there's a lot going on in the new patch itself, the notes about this crossover event are as follows. At the oasis near Paradise Palms, a rift beacon has created the Pandora Rift Zone. This rift zone highly resembles the planet Pandora, however, it's more than just a model, even the rules of the planet apply. While at the rift zone, players will be able to generate shields after 4 seconds of not taking damage. Pandora will be available until September 10th. In addition to the event affecting the gameplay, players can now pick up the Psycho bundle from the item shop, which includes your very own claptrap to cling to you. Last but not least, for those Fortnite players who are feeling creative, they have access to new Pandora prefabs in Fortnite Creative to make their very own take on Pandora if they so desire. And Jonathan's also included other articles on Fortnite and Borderlands in his article, such as the one by Tyler Krasny in which a 16-year-old gamer went home a multi-millionaire from a Fortnite tournament. Borderlands is set to launch on September 13th on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC platforms. In story number 3, Dying Light 2 gets a meaty gameplay demonstration. It feels like it's been months since we've learned anything substantial, says Mr. Irwin about the upcoming Dying Light 2, with Techland being incredibly tight-lipped about the whole thing. During Gamescom 2019, a few lucky individuals were able to see some new extended gameplay footage, but the rest of us would have to wait just a bit longer. Well, now the wait is over. During a live stream yesterday on Techland's Twitch channel, viewers were able to see a 26-minute gameplay demonstration that offered an incredibly deep look into the grim new world that awaits humanity after the ending of the original Dying Light and its expansion, the following. Along with the gameplay footage comes a slew of developer commentary. One thing Jonathan noticed immediately is that District 2 of the city is incredibly alive. Despite humanity being in dire straits and the world around it being reflective of that, District 2 shows the tenacity of the human spirit as men and women go on about their lives, only for the normal day-to-day routines to suddenly be broken up by the arrival of a group from another district. They didn't come to play nice. The combat and parkour demonstrated throughout the footage looks more crisp and responsive than ever, and the demo makes an effort to point out just how often crucial choices are going to show up with an emphasis on how it's going to affect the lives of those immediately around you and throughout the different districts of the city. He says he's not going to spoil every little detail here, but that you should do yourself a favor and watch the footage to the end, as it's totally worth it. And he's included a link to that footage in his article. If this is the first you're hearing of Dying Light, the developers describe it as the following.
It's been 15 years since humanity lost to the virus. The last great human settlements exist within an unforgiving, infected world, plunged into a modern dark age.
Nah, I'm not going to do that. During the day, bandits, factions, and starving survivors roam the streets, scavenging for scraps or someone to take them from, by violence if necessary. At night, the infected roam free, evacuating their dark hideouts to prey on the living. You are Aiden Caldwell, an infected survivor. Your exceptional agility and brutal combat skills make you a powerful ally and valuable commodity in this dangerous world. You can achieve things no one else can, enter places no one else dares. With your unique abilities, you have the power to become an agent of change within this decaying metropolis. Fate of the city is in your hands. You must make tough decisions and hard sacrifices as you decide the fate of society on the brink of collapse. The effect of the choices you make will have a huge impact on entire regions of the city, uncovering new land masses and areas to explore. On your journey from humble beginnings to a person of great power, you have unprecedented freedom of movement across the city, seamlessly integrated with brutal first-person combat. In a desperate city where resources and power are scarce, unstable, and trust in ruling bodies is all but eroded, humankind has reverted to a dark age. Civilization is gone, but the relics are still here. This is a violent, primal, and unforgiving world, and so are its inhabitants. The infection has evolved and become more sensitive to UV light. Society exists in the relative safety of sunlight, while the infected hide in the shadows of buildings. At night, the infected roam the streets freely, searching for prey, presenting opportunities for you to explore areas of the city inaccessible by day. You can play the entire campaign in up to 4-player co-op. You can host your own games or join other players and see how their choices have played out differently to your own and how they've shaped their world differently to yours. Dying Light 2 is projected to release in spring 2020 and will be available on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC platforms. Back in March, Jonathan named the original Dying Light as one of his picks for 10 must-play RPGs, but he's also included an article that is a guide for keeping your expectations tame and your hype reasonable. And last but certainly not least, the WoW Classic train is fully loaded. Less than 24 hours after the launch of World of Warcraft Classic, it's clear to see that not only was the hype train for WoW Classic real, but once it pulled into the station, it seemed like a hefty portion of the online gaming world crowded into its jam-packed cars. Over on Twitch, between various streams, the viewership ended up topping out at 1.1 million viewers, eagerly anticipating watching others try it out. And Twitch streamers like Asmongold pulled in over 200,000 even before he was able to start actually playing. His excitement as he finally made it onto a server was a shared experience, as were his frustrations that came with so many people trying to do the same thing at exactly the same time. Jonathan's included in his article a video of Northshire and Elwyn Forest swarming with so many players that nowhere is empty. Asmongold was actually one of the lucky ones. Some players had queue timers that ranged from 90 minutes to 4 hours or more, and we've got a link to a video of some of those queue times in the article as well. Among all the chaos between wait times and starting areas full of new players bursting at the seams with how much was going on, there were instances of orderly conduct as well. Images from various Twitter users are showing some areas having lines formed to complete different quests. Jonathan says, sure, players can organize a line for a quest, but God forbid anyone help hold an objective in a battleground. You know, Vanilla WoW was such a huge part of my childhood, and something about entering battlegrounds forcibly reduces player IQ by about 30 to 70 points, let's say. I can't tell you how many times on Horde in Alterac Valley I heard people saying, stop fighting on the roads, stop running into choke points, stop willingly running into blenders of Alliance. And every time, that's what most people would do. You could actually exploit this kind of stupidity in Arathi Basin if you had a stealth class. I remember playing as a rogue and a buddy of mine was a priest, and I'd stealth up to a flag in Arathi Basin that the Horde had under control, and there were like 5 of them guarding it, so my buddy would ride up on his horse just out of targeting range for him and wave, and all 5 of them would abandon that flag to chase him. He'd ride away dying, laughing. I'd pop out of stealth and cap the flag. Those were good times. Back to the article. All things considered, it looks like Blizzard Entertainment can write off the first 24 hours of WoW Classic to be a resounding success. A motion that, yes, despite how rough the first years of World of Warcraft can be, for many, it was the best years of their gaming experience. The decision to bring back an option for those players, despite denying the demand for many years, has already paid off for Blizzard in a long way. WoW Classic is available to play now with an active subscription. An active subscription will also allow you to play the normal retail version, though you'll still have to buy Battle of Azeroth to play the current content. Jonathan also includes an article by Luke Franklin about the impact that WoW and other old school games have had on the gaming hobby as a whole. Personally, I don't know if I can jump on those classic servers. I don't know if I can step back into those spaces from my childhood. You know, in the trailer where they originally announced they were going to do classic servers, they opened with Chromie saying, "They say you can never really go home again." And I think that's true. As much as I might want to, as much as I might want to see Elwyn Forest before the Cataclysm, or the Salt Flats of Thousand Needles, or go pet old Blanchy, or see the citizens of Alberdyne, I can't bring myself to do it. Those times for me, they are gone. Because those places and those characters, they're tied up in a time I'll never see again. They're tied up in people and friends I'll never hear from again. Those who've moved on, those who've died, and I was different then too. If I were to go back, if I were to walk through the ruins of Lordaeron once again and stand in the empty throne room, it wouldn't just be the whispers of the ghosts of King Taranis and Arthas I would feel. It would be those of the ghosts of my own past. It would be my own ghost. Better that I keep my eyes looking forward to the days that will come. But until then, you guys be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Jack Lindsay, and I'll see you next time.